everyone. Oh my gosh, it has been so long since we've done a knit along together, and I am so excited for this one. In this knit along, I have paired up with a yarn shop here in Denver, Colorado called The Tangled Ball. Our cast on date for this particular sweater is July 1st, 2022. And the cast off date is October 1st, 2022. If you would like to sign up for this, please visit thetangledball.com/classes and look for Avena. That's the name of the lovely sweater that we are going to make. Now, if you're watching these videos and those dates have already passed, obviously, please make this sweater. You will absolutely love it. Just because we can't knit together doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. So if you go and sign up on their website, you will get all the inside scoop on the milestone dates, and also a link to all of the videos here if you are not a subscriber to my channel. All right, let's talk about this sweater. This is the Avena. This pattern was written by Jen Steingass, and it's made in a DK weight yarn. And in this case, I have chosen a yarn by West Yorkshire Spinners. It's the first time I've worked with their yarn before. And this is fleece, and it is a BFL yarn. It is so soft, and the halo that it creates is absolutely lovely. You're going to really enjoy working with this yarn. All right, so quickly before we get started, we are going to do a review of the Longtail cast on. For those of you who haven't used that in a while, or those of you this is your first sweater, this is one of my favorite go-to cast-ons. Then we're going to do another quick review how to join in the round, and then I am going to jump into the increase that we need in the increase round before we start that beautiful yoke. We have to do some increases, and of course, Jen has this amazing invisible increase that I have not seen before. It's absolutely fabulous. So we're going to go over that, and let's get started. So I have my small set of needles here, and I am going to perform the Longtail cast on. And I've got some yarn. Now, for the Longtail cast on, I'm going to go over a quick review here. You need to have a tail that is as long as the number of stitches that you are casting on. So in my case, I'm casting on 88 stitches. So I'm going to hold on to the end of this. I'm going to give myself just a little teeny bit extra right there. I'm going to hold on to the base of my yarn and the base of my needle, and I'm going to wrap 20 times around the needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Now, I'm going to hold the pinch here. After my wraps, I'm going to let go. And this is about how much I need for 20 stitches. Now I need about 90, so I'm going to go 20. I'm going to fold it in half. So this is 20, this is about 40, and then I'm going to double it again, triple it. This will be 60, and then this will be 80, and then a little bit further after I get this little knot out. About half of that will be another 10, and that should be enough to do my Longtail cast on. Okay, so I'm going to take all of this extra tail and I'm going to put it away from me. Okay, tail away. So now I'm going to bring in my needle, and right where I have this pinch at, this is all the tail that I've estimated. I'm just going to drape that over the needle just like this. Now, in my right hand, I'm holding this loop on the needle because I am going to begin, and it is actually, see how it slides around? So I'm going to hold this in place like this. And now here's the trick I use to get my hands in formation. You want to make a fist around both pieces of yarn. Get your pincher fingers out. Open them up, move them to this side of the yarn, close them, and sneak them through the middle like this. See, I still got my pinchers, but now they're between the yarn. I'm going to open up into what I like to call squirt gun formation. And then I'm going to turn my palm face up. Okay, so pew, pew, I'm still in squirt gun formation, but my palm is face up. All the while, I'm still holding onto this piece right here. So now the mantra you're going to say is draw up the thumb, down the finger, down the thumb. So up, down, pull. Up, down, pull. All right, so we're going to start below the yarn. Up the thumb, we're going to swivel over to the finger, draw down, scoop it up. Tip of the thumb, draw down. We're going to let the loop on the thumb go. We're going to use our thumb to grab the piece of yarn that's in front of us and give it a little rocking shake, just nice and gentle to snug those up like that. Palm up again. All right? So we're going to go up, down, pull. Up, down, pull. One more time. Up, down, pull. All right, I am going to keep going just like this. Once you get good at it, then you can you go into this loop, grab this piece, come out of the loop. So you can get going quite a bit faster. So I'm going to go ahead and get my 88 stitches on. If you need further help with this particular cast on, I have a video in my Learning to Knit series, and I teach this long tail cast on in a lot more detail if you need more information. Okay, I have all of my stitches now on my 16-inch needles here, and I'm ready to join in the round. So I'm just going to grab a stitch marker here and stick it on the end. Now I need to get all of these stitches up close to the needles because that's where I'm going to work. So, I am going to push all of this up this way, and it's going to stretch it out just a little bit, but that is all right. You'll see that there's quite a bit of give in here. So now that I have all of these, all of my loops near the tips of the needles, I can begin to knit. So I need to turn this over. My right hand needle should have the live yarn attached to it, and that's this one. I don't want to knit with my tail. I have done that before. It is painful and no fun. All right, so my little stitch marker shot off, so let me grab it and put it back on. There we go. All right, so now I am going to just verify that all of my knots are facing the same direction in here. They are looking good. There are no twists. It does not spiral around the needle. Everything's looking well. So now I can join in the round. I'm going to go into the first stitch over here. Make sure I am not knitting with my tail. Of course, that's the first thing I grabbed. And I am going to do my very first stitch like so. And just like that, I am joined in the round. Now, because this is so tight, I'm going to have to pull from here around this way and push onto the needle and feed that needle so that I can continue knitting all the way around. And once you get to your stitch marker, you're just going to pass it from one needle to the other and keep going. And it looks like we've got several rounds to knit, so I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we will look at the invisible increase. Okay, I'm getting to the very last of my prescribed knit rounds, so I'm now done with that and I'm ready for the increase round. But before I do that, I have to change needle sizes. So I am on the smallest needle, and I have to change to a slightly larger needle. So you can do this one of two ways. You can simply pass all of the stitches from one needle to the next, or you can simply start knitting with this new needle right here if you would like. Now I always get confused when I do that. I have a very short attention span, so I am going to just set my stitch marker over here, and I'm going to very quickly pass all of the stitches off of this set of needles onto this one. Okay, I've successfully transferred all of my stitches onto these needles, and you will have noticed by now that this is very tight because we went from a smaller barrel here, a smaller barrel needle, to a larger one. So again, if you are having trouble passing them from one to another, just knit them on, basically. You'll want to knit your last round, or you can knit your increase round and just knit right onto the new needles. That works just fine too. All right, so I am going to slip this back on here, and it's time to do the really cool increase. So let me zoom in here for you. All right, so I'm on my larger needles. I'm going to knit one stitch, and then I'm going to demonstrate this super genius increase. Now again, my stitches are really tight here, so I'm going to have to feed this needle by pushing these up. So this round is going to be tough. Just go nice and slow. Okay, so now I'm going to do my invisible left increase. So the first step is to pass a stitch from the left needle to the right needle purlwise. That means you're going to insert the stitch as if you were going to purl it, but then you just do nothing and move it over to the other needle. Now that it's over there, we are going to grab the left leg of the stitch below. Okay, so this is the stitch on the needle. You can see the leg in the back here is on the left side, and this leg in the front is on the right side. The stitch below has the same legs. There's a leg right there that's on the right side, and then the one over here is on the left. We're going to grab the one on the left side. I'm going to try to keep my finger out of the way so you can see. I'm going to slowly take my needle, and I'm going to just dip under that leg right there. See that? I've kind of scooped that left leg up. So now if I just kind of scooch this a little bit and move this down, you can kind of see what's happening. So this stitch here is actually coming out of this stitch here because that's the stitch that's below it. And that is correct. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit this stitch, but instead of knitting it through the front leg here, I'm going to knit it through the back leg over here. So I'm going to take my right hand needle and I'm going to go under the back leg, and then I'm going to knit it just like normal. Just like that. Okay? Now, let's take a look at this increase. It looks like, and it's actually true, that this one stitch that's down here below has two heads. These stitches are both coming out of the same stitch, which is great because it doesn't leave a hole. Let's knit our next stitch and let's put them all together so that we can see why this is called an invisible stitch. See that? There's no gap, there's no hole. It's just literally a two-headed stitch. How amazing is that thing? I am in love with this increase. This was Jen's recommendation in her pattern, and I absolutely think it is just the smartest little thing. All right, so we're going to do it again. We're going to pass one stitch purlwise. Then I am going to grab the left leg of the stitch below. I'm just going to shimmy right in there. Okay. And you can tell I've got it because the two legs of the stitch that is on the needle is coming out of this loop that I have on this left needle. So you know you have it right. Okay, so now I'm just going to hold this stitch with my finger because I'm always worried about them slipping off. So now I'm going to duck under the back stitch. I'm going to give that a knit just like that. And boom, I've done an increase. And I'm going to knit the next one, and I'll show you one more time. We're going to slip this stitch as if to purl. I'm going to very carefully grab the leg, the left leg of the stitch below, just like that. Okay, make sure I got the right one. Looks pretty good. So now I'm just going to grab this stitch because better safe than sorry. I'm going to go under this one, and I'm going to go around, and I've done my increase. Isn't that just so cool? Okay, So now that we've mastered this super cool increase, it's time for you to finish up your increase round or rounds, depending on your size. And please be careful counting. Because you have 2 stitches that are right next to each other, it's very easy to count them as one, especially on the yarn that I'm using because it has a big fuzzy halo around it. So be very careful counting. And then in the next video, we will talk about tips and tricks for getting all of the color work done, and we will learn how to read the chart. See you there.